The amazing true stories of errors and omissions. In this edition, responding to customer coverage requests. On a day not unlike today, a prospective customer came to the agent seeking a homeowner's policy because he had recently received a notice of non-renewal from another carrier. He provided his policy and asked the agent to find similar coverage for a lower premium. Later, the agent called the prospective customer and informed him that he could write a policy with the same coverage, but the cost would be higher. The consumer responded by asking the agent to run some numbers so that he could determine what the cost savings would be if he reduced limits and coverages. The agent made several modifications to the quoted coverage and called the prospective customer to proudly present the cost savings that he had been able to attain. He had been able to reduce the premium by several $100s a year. The customer agreed to the terms and the agent bound the risk. A few years later, the customer suffered a significant water loss when his pipes burst while he was out of town on vacation. The customer had expensive audio and video equipment, which was destroyed by the water. The claim was reported, and the loss amount exceeded the policy's sublimits for personal property. The customer alleged that the agent was told to find replacement coverage that was similar to the prior policy, which had higher sublimits for personal property. Thinking back to that now infamous phone call with the customer, the agent failed to keep good records and did not send anything in writing to confirm that the customer agreed to a reduction in coverage to lower his premium. And boom! As a result, the E&O carrier was faced with a pure credibility contest. Had the agent documented the conversation and requested the customer to confirm the request to reduce coverage because a lower premium was desired, the E&O carrier would have had a much stronger defense to the allegations brought against the agent. In the end, the E&O carrier ended up paying the difference between the sublimits of the two policies. In another example, an agent was asked to procure a homeowner's policy. During the procurement process, the customer indicated that she had two very expensive rings and inquired as to whether the loss or theft of jewelry would be covered under the homeowner's policy. The agent indicated that the rings would be covered, subject to a sublimit of $500, far less than the value of each ring. The consumer claimed that each had been purchased for over 10 times that amount. He offered to quote jewelry floaters for her, but first she would need to provide appraisals for the rings. The consumer indicated that she would think about it, but instructed the agent to go ahead and write the policy without the floaters for the time being. Shortly after the inception of the policy, the customer lost one of her rings while traveling. She reported the claim, but was informed that she would only be paid the $500 sublimit under the policy, leaving the ring underinsured by thousands of dollars. The customer alleged that she had instructed the agent to add the floater for both rings, but that he had never followed up with further instructions. Once again, the agent failed to follow up with the customer in writing to confirm that the floater would not be issued and that a quotation would be issued once appraisals were provided. This matter was reported to the E&O carrier, and the E&O carrier had to step in to resolve the claim. So here's what we've learned. Whether it's a face-to-face conversation or a seemingly casual chat over the phone, take notes and follow up with the customer with a written confirmation that summarizes all of the major understandings by both parties. Remember, taking someone at their word can get very expensive. Absent documentation to prove what actually transpired at the time that the alleged error was made, these claims often devolve into he said, she said situations, which are difficult to defend against. See you next time on The Amazing True Stories of Errors and Omissions. Click on the forward arrow to continue.